lot of people showed out here today saying they want to make sure City Hall hears them one way or another, whether it's inside the council chambers or outside here at City Hall. We've been waiting for this announcement since Friday when they began searching Zachary Adams' home. But for the Bobo family, they've been waiting 3 long and painful years for it. A lot of the truck drivers that have stopped here in West Memphis, Arkansas, say the roads all day have been absolutely treacherous. But we are learning a lot from neighbors, including we spoke with the woman who owns the home where one of the victims ran into. Jason Autry not only has a long rap sheet, but a rap sheet that also includes crimes connected to another suspect in the Holly Bobo case. According to the Shelby County Health Department, between 2009 and 2012, 14 children died, all of whom were passengers in a car. Adding that these deaths are most often occurring in children between the ages of 5 and 9. I obtained the tax documents for the Christ Community Health Services. In 2010, it shows they had $1.5 million of revenue after expenses. But their most recent report shows they are $330,000 in the hole. Germantown city leaders say this agreement is actually very simple and one that they ask any other school or organization to sign if they want to use the sports fields. They're just adding one thing that Germantown wants out of this agreement. A manhunt underway in Mississippi for 2 suspects who shot at officers. That's where we find Fox 13's Alex Flores. And Alex, I understand that a press conference just wrapped up there. What did they have to say? A 25-year-old man is arrested after shooting himself while trying to rob a local business yesterday, honoring a friend and classmate. Memphis Central High School's class of 1989 came together for their 25th reunion this afternoon. But instead of a party, they decided to do something unique to remember one of their own.
That guy just gave me a bunch of roses. Yeah, I don't think he's married either.
Get it? I love seeing when you're 100 years old and you're still out looking for a man.
Enjoying life?
Those breaks are too short for your breakfast.
I gotta finish that.
Well, I can do this for you. This is Ernie Freeman. It's Friday, December 27th, and I'm Sarah Bleau. After quietly sitting in court for months as suspects in her daughter's kidnapping and alleged murder claimed their innocence, Karen Bobo said they're not fighting for their rights, but distracting from the real reason they're where they're at today.
We're still seeking justice for Holly, and I'm asking people not to get sidetracked by the lawyers' circus and sideshow. That's not what it's about.
It's not a circus we invited to town. It was a circus sideshow before we ever appeared.
Holly Bobo's mother keeping a stern eye on attorneys in court Wednesday as one of Jason Autry's 3 attorneys suggested in court that TBI's hundreds of thousands of evidence pages was a show.
Sometimes when the government hits you with an evidence drop, that's really an indication of how little evidence they have to sustain that the person that they have charged has committed an offense.
After debate about which evidence and how the TBI would provide it, the judge laid down the law. The TBI has 90 days to provide Adams and Autry's discovery simultaneously.
I'm not going to speculate or guess or tell the state how to try their case. I'm not going to tell you how to try your case. My job is to be a neutral person.
The judge not knowing specifics, but saying he does understand there are mountains of evidence in out of the ordinary volumes.
We've been unable, particularly, to get DNA evidence in a very reasonable fashion.
Despite how much evidence and how many hearings there will be, Holly's mother says she'll be right there.
Our presence is for Holly. Our voice is for Holly, and my daughter deserves that, and we'll be here all the way.
The judge already set a schedule for Autry. Right now, the judge said if a settlement has not been reached by January 14th, 2015, this case will be docketed for trial. Now, next week, Zachary Adams, another suspect indicted for kidnapping and murdering Holly Bobo, will be in court. This pilot project is getting a lot of mixed reviews. Runners, cyclists, especially the residents who live just up the hill here on Riverside Drive, love the convenience of these pedestrian lanes we're standing on. Now, when you talk to people who drive more frequently on Riverside Drive, they're concerned about safety.
It's fairly easy for me. I'll just walk down the steps to Riverside Drive, and then I take this all the way
like the span of the riverfront.
Brendan Valines walks his dog Ricky every day on the new temporary pedestrian lanes on Riverside Drive.
Before this, there was only the park area over here that you could navigate as far as walking or biking, and this creates a great flow for runners, bikers, everybody.
You still have these narrow lanes, so traffic is wall to wall, bumper to bumper during rush hour.
But not everyone is a fan of this pilot project, like Randy McKenna, who drives every day to President's Island for work.
I've been keeping a log the last 6 weeks, and I've seen 2,200 cars pass me in that time. I've seen 7 bikers.
During this pilot project, the city of Memphis will monitor the traffic volume on Riverside Drive and surrounding roads. The city says it has noticed a slight uptick in traffic accidents on Riverside.
We think that the reducing from 4 lanes to 2 lanes can be handled with the roadway. We're using the pilot project to test that and test what it does to traffic, whether it pushes traffic to other parts of the city, and see how we can make improvements.
The city says as residential development continues growing downtown, they want to make walking, running, and bicycling accessible for residents and future residents.
We have the main-to-main project that's going on right now. We have several other projects downtown, and this is part of a network of bicycle and pedestrian accessibility projects that we're developing.
The city of Memphis will post that traffic data that they're collecting on their website in the coming weeks, and they are working on monitoring how many pedestrians use these new biking and walking lanes. Now, the project, the city said this afternoon at a meeting that they will reverse the project and cancel it if it becomes a safety concern. You can let the city know what you think of this project by commenting on a link that we've posted on our My Fox Memphis Facebook page. Live downtown, Sarah Bleau, Fox 13 News. Williams is obviously heartbroken. He hasn't slept. He was also with the search crews all night looking for his daughter, Jessica Williams. Now that they have found her, Eric's now focusing on searching for who did this and why they would kill his little girl.
We're happy go-getting. She loved everything.
Very loving, very playful. It's a very big loss.
Just 1 month after getting a new puppy, 11-year-old Jessica Williams disappeared and was found dead the next morning.
She was about 6:30 last night. She was right there in that gate playing with her dog. And I went in and take a shower after weeding in the yard and came back out and she was gone.
And then went out County Road 122 toward Big Lake because the little girl's puppy was found in that vicinity, so they started searching all that area.
It was there in a ditch by a bridge near Big Lake.
Sheriff come up and told me
that Jessica was found dead.
I had lost it.
The Mississippi County Sheriff's Department says they are still investigating, but add this may not be an accident based on where Jessica's home is and where she was found 3.5 miles away.
It was a large distance from the residence. It's kind of hard to believe that that this victim walked that far by herself.
Jessica's father, Eric Williams, doesn't understand why anyone would harm his loving daughter.
How could they live with himself?
Now all he has left of her is a puppy.
Loved her dog.
That continues to bark for a playmate that will never be coming home. And this investigation remains ongoing. Anyone with information about a car or someone around the 5300 block of North County Road 503 between 4 in the afternoon and onward is urged to call the Mississippi County Sheriff's Department. Now, residents I spoke with in Gosnell and Mississippi County say it's actually pretty normal for kids to be playing alone in their small community. We're going to have more on that coming up on Fox 13 News at 10.
I just didn't think it could happen to me.
These small wisps of baby Gabriel's hair are everything to Lee Holt.
He was stillborn.
At 20 weeks pregnant, Lee took her husband, Kevin Holt, to an ultrasound. They were supposed to find out the gender of their baby.
Instead, they told us what they told us, which was basically that it wasn't going to have a good ending. And, you know, it just, we weren't expecting that, and it was devastating.
From week 20 to week 31, we just loved our baby and sang to our baby.
January 25th, 2014, Lee gave birth to Gabriel, stillborn. Within 2 days, David and Brittany Spence, founders of the Forrest Spence Fund, who also experienced the death of their own newborn son, came forward with support as well as a gift Lee describes as indispensable. The Forrest Spence Fund paid for their grief counseling.
They were already telling us what we need to be doing, which was a help because we wouldn't have, at that point, known.
Anytime you're grieving, you're at the center of a storm. And as the person going through it, you don't have the discerning skills and the judgment call to say, I do or do not need counseling.
It's their first time on the other side of the Forrest Spence Fund. Kevin has volunteered and run every 5K since the fund was established in 2008. When he married Lee, she began volunteering too.
I would volunteer and I would hear other people's speeches and my heart would go out to them. Foreseeing that there were couples and families in Memphis that had to go through this kind of loss. But you never think it's going to happen to you.
She was pregnant with Gabriel during the 2013 Forrest Spence 5K. A year later, 7 months after losing Gabriel, the Holts were speakers at the event.
We really wanted to know how great this fund is and how it supports us and how it supports so many people. You know, the non-medical expenses which add up, and Forrest Spence Fund pays for a lot of that.
If you can volunteer, volunteer. If you can write a check, write a check. There are families in pain in the Mid-South, and the Spences stepped up to help them. So the least we could do is share our story, if it would just either comfort one heartbroken mom or urge one person to get off the bench.
The Holts cherish every memento they have of Gabriel. His little handprints, his birth gown, and even the 217 cards people sent when Gabriel passed on. A card for every day Gabriel was alive in Lee's womb. And with some reassurance from the Forrest Spence Fund, they've held on even stronger to their faith.
There's temptations and then there are trials. And this was a trial sent by God for us. And we used it hopefully for his good.
He's a loving God. And so we knew from day one that God created Gabriel, and we knew that God took Gabriel back and that he was with Jesus in heaven. And we believe that one day we're going to see him again.
In Memphis, Sarah Bleau, Fox 13 News.